What in the world are we listening to? Space Bunny says hello. Hi, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Hope all of you are doing well out there. Respect the gazelle. What up, Tom? How you doing, man? Appreciate you. And shout out to Paulie. Appreciate you too, homie. Both with the subs. Respect the gazelle. Paul is tuning in from sunny Maryland. It is currently, at this very minute, pretty bright and sunny. Scattered clouds. Bright blue. Portland. Ooh, what's for late breakfast, Paul? Everybody is slurping coffee right now, it looks like. Dremia, welcome in, homie. Heidi, how are you? Saffron. What's up, dude? How you doing? Whoa, 24-month streak, Tom. Monumental occasion. It's been a great 2 years. I would agree with that. It's good seeing you yesterday, by the way. Meme of the day, Space Rabbit Warrior. You've just screen captured the Space Rabbit. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, man. My little guy will be so happy. The Space Bunny now exists in a different location. Isn't he just the coolest, cutest little awkward guy? Love him. He sits here and he looks at me. Mostly mocking me, I think. Heidi's having some coffee, making the bed, listening to this heady stuff. So I know I said we were gonna make like some really cool, more immersive like atmospheres and stuff this week, but I kind of went off the deep end on Monday after our stream and kind of made the entire release. So I don't really have more atmospheres to make right now. I have a whole bunch of stuff to bounce. I have a project full of like 150 atmospheres. Now I gotta bounce them all. I gave them all names at least, so that part's done. But gotta bounce them all, tag them all. That's gonna be a lot of work. So one of the next things on the production hit list right now is cartoon sounds. And I thought, well, okay, maybe we could just have a little bit of fun today and make a bunch of foolish, awesome, fun cartoon sounds. You know, ranging from like the classic Flintstone xylophone or slide whistle stuff all the way to like weird, like maybe anime, like kind of sounds, you know? I don't know. We'll see what we get up to. Cartoons, right, Drummy? Grab a bowl of cereal. What else? What else? If there's enough people around with a DAW wanting to play today, we could always do a little live challenge. Saf remembers doing a session on cartoon sounds, animation sounds a long time ago. That was a long time. When was that? A couple years ago? A few years ago? I don't know. I think I kind of remember that one. And I got to cut so I can make a 1 p.m. Meeting today, so and the stream slightly on the early side today. January 2021, Seth says. That's when he learned about cartoons. That is a while ago. For those keeping track, this is Metaphysical Function. drone E, wind chimes, and a little Euclidean milk. Those who want to roll their own at home. So I don't know where to start. Maybe we should just start with some factory library sounds and see what they sound like, because those we can use for this type of production. Very important to pay attention to the rules laid out by whoever developed your sound libraries, like what you can and cannot do with them. So I say we venture into some weird, eccentric sampled instruments and get some weird, cool results. That will be the best thing to do. Ooh, Rokusai at a salty tempeh. How you doing, man? Reaktor is still definitely one of the greatest of all time for creativity. These are just 4 generative things running together. Roku, what are we cooking up today? I think it's going to be cartoon sounds. I think that's kind of what I've settled on. And we were going to make more atmospheres and stuff, but I went nuts and made them all. So now I don't have any more to make. Goku throwing down his ancestry. Dump Bezos here. Roku, I appreciate you, homie. Hope you're doing well over there. Respect the gazelle, by the way. Dump Bezos here. Oh, look at this. Tom and Roku having a little moment in the chat. It's like, oh, wait a minute. You have proper taste buds. Let's talk. What the hell are we gonna make first? Let's do, should we do something really weird and wacky first, or should we go classic? Which one should we do? Let's pull up our stock sampler. Play with this guy very. I should do more. Alright, some tuned percussion, perhaps. Maybe we'll just start at the top and work our way down with categories. I'm gonna turn these guys off really quick. All right, and I will also set BPM to like maybe like 140 or so for the any kind of modulation I set up that's synced at a pretty peppy rate. Ollie, first album drops tomorrow. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Saf is saying, I think key advice for anyone wanting to score work for money is to consistently show up and meet up, because over time the people will trust you. Over time they don't have anyone else but you. That's what I hear time and time again. Big people in the yeah, it's true. Just got to show up. There's this it's the big 90-10 rule, right? Like 90% of the people only show up like 10% of the time. Also, 10% of the people show up 90% of the time. And it's that 10% of the people in that group, in that clique, that kind of make the foundation. And of course, they all turn to each other because they know they can trust that each other's going to be there the next day. So, and it all just kind of levels out into consistency. Yeah. Roku nails it right there. He says, "You become the guy on speed dial if they're in a pickle. That's the best and worst place to be." Absolutely. Yeah, you got to show up. Got to show up. All right, so I loaded up this sound. See what we can do with it. What's going on? I sound. See? Well, let's try that again. How about I turn it off and then I turn it back on again? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Sound. Okay, so do a couple things. Let's go to control surfaces. Oh, you know what it probably is? I just realized this. It was in here yesterday, which means I probably have to restore factory defaults on. I have like nothing saved on my MIDI controller because I'm constantly resetting to factory defaults. My kid will come in here and do something and I won't know what the heck it is. Oh, that did not fix it. Power button. That was it. Yo, Martin, how you doing, man? Um, I've got more messages from you. I will read. Kind. Tom, take care. Get good rest, homie. All right, so best way to capture this kind of stuff, in my opinion, is just to play. Um, and the more playful, the better. And just kind of record in real time. So I'm going to set up a capture track here. And we're just going to set the output of our software track to set that as the input. Audio track, set that to stereo. Okay, so we don't have any pitch bend or anything set, so let's go ahead and do that. Say we pitch bend, target, and we'll say we're going. Ooh, that's a nice effect up there. All right, so we'll start down low and work our way up. We might play a little bit pitch. And we'll move on to different sound. Roku. Is that a hint? I'm just looking at this this link in the chat here. Is that a hint? Martin has a question for everyone who's a Mac user making music. You guys, let's say, have to get the M2 Pro. What's going to be the memory you get for the laptop? Oh, like what size drive? um, yeah, that's tough. For me, I have a lot of stuff, and some of it sits on externals, and some of it has to be on internals. I mean, if it's a laptop and you're very well organized, you can get away with the 512 and get a couple of portables. So you got to get a backup for your backup, especially if all of that stuff is external, right? It's placed. Always more disks. I have multiple 5 terabyte drives that I juggle like output to for various things. Dave is here. Rip Boy in the chat saying, I was thinking about the cartoon sound effects. I'm wondering if you're going to do a booing like a huge metal spring. I have no idea how to even start creating it. Oh, like a boing, like that. Yeah, we could probably make something like that. This is everything since 2009 stuff, says Martin. Yeah, definitely make sure you got a backup of the backup. Just record Beavis. I really like finding like the discordant kind of for those like moments when like something bonks a character on the head or whatever. The other thing I like to play around with, I'll play around with for just 1 second so I can get timing right when I get there for it's a note repeater. Note repeaters and modulators are like the freely assignable kind are just absolutely priceless with this kind of thing. Let's say we do like a 2 transpose, maybe steps each one of those, and we ramp this down. And we do this at a delay rate of, say, 16th notes. Let's go a total of 7 repeats this time. So this is going to traverse over an octave. And if mellow out that velocity ramp there, all of a sudden we've got our magic spells. Nice meter. So we'll do a little bit of this kind of stuff. And then after some sampling, we'll get into some synthesis, I think. Okay, so you're going to get the 512 one and get a 2 terabyte SSD for the project file, stem sounds, etc. Good idea. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Roku on this. Yeah, typically I would always recommend having both a double backup and a clone, right? Because if you have your machine still and you lose a drive or there's a crash or something, you've got your content backup. But if you lose your laptop or your laptop takes a dive, if you have a clone, you can boot your laptop still. Like you can boot your computer on someone else's machine or like a loaner or something. Or maybe you're in a pinch, you have to buy a new machine or whatever. You just in a pinch without having to load everything, you just boot off of that clone. So anyway, having a clone and a backup is always best practice, I think. Yeah, definitely, Paul. Video eats up so much space. Yeah. Each live stream is several gigs, so it all adds up pretty quickly. Heidi's favorite sounds are magic sounds. Paula, you take care, homie. All right, let's make some of these things, huh? I don't think we need. All right, just kind of free play here for a bit. All right, trying that again. Awkward ones out of the way first. Oh wait, maybe one big low one. Big old long tail on that one. All right, get up a couple of octaves here. Start having some fun. Patriotic, welcome in. Happy hump day to you. Recording some cartoon sounds here. Let's go in the opposite direction. Ooh. All right, and let's take this up to good 12 repeats. And we're going to take this velocity ramp up to 64ths on this big one. Oh, that was a good fail. All right, another one. All right, we got a few minutes worth of stuff here. So got MIDI, and I'm going to move this down to track. Set this one. All right, cool. And I'm going to jump to a different instrument entirely. And I think I want to get into some synthesis for a bit. Make some cool stuff. Ooh, patriotic. Will I be famous? That's the question. When you hear this sound, okay, hammer and anvil sound from my show intro. Ooh. More tuned percussion. Self set up here around really quick. Some quick little runs there. Do some little dingle dangle thingies. All right, some bells. Do a couple of quick magics. Get our note repeat back in here. All right. Clock runs. Those. Put these down here. This first one was L. This one clock. Paul thought he knew where the term hacker came from, but watched a vid last night and got schooled. Really? Hackney, UK, home of rental horses and carriages. Hackney, hack for a person who is hired for a specific job or task. So a music hack makes music per order. A hack. Hacky sack. Ah, computer hackers evolved from the idea of writing code for its own sake, then letting it loose. Well, there we have it. Learn something new every single day. um, shall we make some cool stuff from scratch? Some synthesis stuff. We played with our recorded sounds. Let's create some stuff out of thin air for a bit. See what happens. Da, 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 da. Fire up serums. Follow along if they want. What kind of sound shall we make? How about some kind of cool pitchy thing to begin with? Maybe we'll start with a sine and oh, I know. We'll make like a little bell or something, and then we'll just kind of start to get all weird with it. We'll start centered and kind of deviate further and further. So I will take a sine and I'll mix it with a sine, but we're going to put this up a few octaves, that down, FM into it. So I'm going to bring my sustain down, keep my decay nice and tight, back nice and tight, but we're going to put a long release on it. So we're going to make it even tighter than that. That's about half a second decay. Take that down. All right, it's a basic shape-ish, something like that. And now we're just going to add some FM to it. Ooh, that's a cool. Put a little wiggle in there, maybe. Trigger this. Great. Ooh, a pretty saucy one right there. The trick is to play notes that are one step apart from each other. Causes the extra beating. All right, we're going to capture a few of these weird wonky wobbly ones and then I'm going to play with some FM and shaping for just a second. Well, probably a couple minutes actually. All right. Change this up a little bit and put a basic shape in here. We're going to move triangle. All right, I'm going to set my pitch bend range up a bit. So right now it's sitting at 2 and I'm going to set it at 4 up and down. A little bit better. So I'm just modulating the pitch bend as I'm playing to get these kind of like organic character movement sounds. So I'm just going to play around with pitch for just a moment. Okay, so we got these tiny little kind of chirpy, charactery sounds here. I'm going to move this down and call this let's see here. Call them like synth basics or something for now. Oh, a Taco Bell? Taco Bell. Try not to get too many like super classic sounds because everyone has those already. So I like aiming just for left of center on a lot of this kind of stuff. Shape of the sine wave just a little bit. And let's do something weird. Let's take this LFO and we'll just call this a square. And we'll just flip back and forth between do an octave for now. Let's go up one. Okay, if we increase our K here, a little more body out of this. Maybe just a little bit more. And then this can be used for a range of things. Weapons, teleportation, magic. Nice ringtone there, huh? Nice thing about cartoon world, animation in general, is that you get to imagine like any direction, really. Like, what does a phone sound like in this, right? All right, so we'll add those little wiggles to the classic line down here. Let's move square. A little bit more like the classic 8-bit type sound. FM in there still. I don't want to get too close to what's already been released in the 8-bit library, so I'm just going to pull up some of that. Da-da-da. Done it on streams, and I wonder if I've already archived. Where are the rest? Oh, these are all string outs. Wally. Wally. I'm pretty sure I've got some straight square wave stuff like that, though. I don't want to go hunt for it right now. I'll print it, and I don't need it. I want. Come back here. All right, so we're going to do a few of these. Record this. All right, put this down with the classic synth. Oh, almost wrong thing. All right, bring this over here. Getting some weird stuff, are we? Bing Bong McGee. How you doing? Doing all right over here. Making some cartoon type sounds today. All right, let's do a few more funky little synthesized sounds. We'll jump back to some like orchestral instruments, and we'll come back to some more synthesized sounds. Bring this up. That's nice down there. All right, so I kind of like these. All right, those processed in a few. Take those. Let's move away from the square wave modulation and set that back. Saw down and slow this way down. Let's take this off octaves and instead on course, and we'll say we're down with this. All right, we're going to record some of these. Right, it's a direction. All right, so we've got some of those. If I save this, I've done that. Animation. Animation. day one. I would imagine that whatever this cartoon sounds collection becomes, it's going to be enormous and fairly comprehensive. So I'm going to start working off of document. Kind of give me some solid ideas. Document. Oh, excellent. You get to make some farting sounds. Excellent. Bird chirps. Elf, welcome in. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday to you. We're just making some cartoon sounds, and I'm checking out a little hit list to be working off of. Skinhead, no, this is okay. So what we're doing here is we're developing a larger collection that will be an addition to the greater audio design desk library of sounds. So these will be some of them will become factory sounds, and some of them will become kind of expansion sounds in more of a curated collection that gets released. And it'll get broken up, right? So like right now, you just heard me make some classic stuff with like a glockenspiel, right? And then go into this weird 8-bit stuff, just keeping my ears fresh and bouncing around and having fun. But it'll all get kind of parsed and curated into different categories and potentially even packs. Is it for game or cinema? The answer to that is yes. So this is for. So I head up the sound and music for Audio Design Desk, and that is a tool that's kind of revolutionized the way that you put sound to picture, right? So high level production houses and stuff use it to sync music and sound to moving picture very quickly. And so we've also got this sound and music library totaling in the tens of thousands of files, right? That rivals like Epidemic Sound and Artlist and Soundstripe and the various um, libraries that you can subscribe to that give you universal license to use sounds and music in broadcasts and productions. So this is really for anyone that is producing, right? So we've got users that will use it to put together sounds for a video game, some for a movie trailer, some for a television episode, some for a commercial or an explainer video, or maybe they're running a podcast, or perhaps it's a live stage production and they're triggering sounds as Foley or a stage play or something. So it kind of ranges across the full spectrum of sound industries, so or industries that sound touches it. Yeah, yeah. So we're designing sounds that will be used later sound design efforts. Do we export them in 5.1 or in stereo? In stereo. Um, there are also thanks, Paul. There are also times when you bounce stuff in mono because it makes a lot more sense. But typically speaking, you're not going to bounce the single sound stuff like this to something like 5.1. You want to be able to place this kind of sound somewhere specifically the soundscape of like a 5.1 or larger. So yeah. All right. So yeah, this is kind of like all every industry has a trickle down system of some sort, right? And when you look at the greater context of what's being done in media production, a lot of the sounds that are flying around are from existing libraries. They're not being made on the spot for that production. And that same sound might be heard 30 or 40 different times throughout production, right? For continuity's sake. It could also be heard dozens of times through the production and absolutely changed each time too. So, but long story short, a ton of the sounds that are flying around out there are actually from these large pre-existing libraries. So, all right, so what I do is I export everything to Wave, and within the audio design desk system, we do have an add audio format that we adhere to for the factory stuff. It does provide some protection for users, but more importantly, all of the files are embedded with a ridiculous amount of metadata, and that allows us to employ our AI, our sonic intelligence, to know exactly what the sound is, where to place it, how it relates to the content on screen. And it opens up incredible possibilities and potential. So anyway, it's important to not only have the kind of sounds that you want, right, but to have sounds that were actually engineered for the tool itself from beginning to end. So that is by and large the intention behind creating such a massive library that just does not stop growing. Is just to keep it all native, right, in the native format, so everything is still, you know, many, 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 many times faster than it would be in any other system. So, have I gotten placements in trailers with my sounds? Yeah, yeah. I don't know how to begin to show you, but for the past decades, yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. As Paul points out, there's actually you can download Audio Design Desk. It's a 30-day free trial. It's Mac only currently. It's a desktop application. It's pretty darn freaking phenomenal. It's very mind blowing. All right, so back to making sounds here. Let's play a little bit more synthesis, and then I want to duck back into some orchestral sounds, and then back to some synthesis. All right, so we were playing with some attack and some modulation when we last left off here. And I kind of want to move back, perhaps more like sine-ish. Actually, I'm going to load up one of mine. Say like a... Okay, so let's give this one similar control. Of course, we'll offset these. So this one, instead of modulating up, unipolar will go down unipolar, varied amounts. So these things are now running in opposite directions. They're on two different octave planes. There are two different sound types, primarily, predominantly, I should say. And we're going to kind of open up this sound perhaps as we play it. So we'll just put a modulation here and up. And we need to trigger all of our LFOs so they fire off at the same time. Oh, envelope, rather. Here. Trigger. Okay, cool. There we go. And we'll put a little resonance on there. And we'll make this thing a little louder. Alright, our release is way too high. Alright, let's sharpen this just a bit more. Put on a little overdrive on here and target some higher frequencies. Create some more harmonics. Go. Alright, cool. Record a couple of these. Go way high and see if it's even acceptable or not. Alright. Let's play around with our shape just a little bit more. All right, so on our list of things was some bird chirps. We're going to attend to that in a few different ways. Sine wave resonance is obviously one of the better ones to play with to get the really pure stuff, but then also just shortening sounds and going up several octaves will oftentimes give you really unique chirps. And remember that when you're playing with animation and cartoons specifically, that you should be kind of trying to think left to center, right? Because it's about imagination. So we're just going to play around with this. I'll play around with a little pitch bending at the same time and see what we come up with here. All right, there's a few in there. There's like maybe 4 or 5 that were useful. So we'll go back and we'll chop silence on those. Get them. Parents McManus, welcome in. Happy hump day to you. We're making some cartoon sounds. Nothing too horribly specific. All right, so this is actually a fairly decent range, but it doesn't have any of the surface texture that we really want on. See if we can get away from it entirely. Oh, now we're back into video game. All right, let's do something entirely different, and let's do some pew pew pew, shall we? And we'll do some orchestral instruments. Let's say that our first sound is just going to be kind of like a half second or so. All right, and let's get our pitch modulation set up. And let's go with just an envelope on this. And there's a reason for this. We're going to kind of get our timing of all of this worked out first. So we're going to move away from synced sound. So what we're doing is we've picked a fairly arbitrary number for our pitch bend, right? For the actual depth. So we're not trying to accomplish like a certain pitch to a certain pitch. All we're doing is just kind of playing by feel and exactly how it should be for cartoon work. And we're going to make just some single shots, and then we'll do some repeater shots. We'll play around with things like decay and pulse width and stuff as we go. So this little Run will take just a few minutes here. Some shorties here. And some even shorter ones. Okay. And I'm going to put on a little note repeater here. Did this before. We're going to say many repeats, like maybe 5, but we're not going to transpose at all. We are going to have a little velocity ramp, though. That's all pretty fast. Let's bring that down a bit. A little better. And slower still. Okay, I'm going to start adding some modulators. So as we start playing around with our repeats, we're going to start getting a little bit of variation in here, which is always good. We're going to put in maybe a little ring mod. See, it's easy. We can come up with lots and lots and lots of variations very, very quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of cycle through a bunch of these, and we're going to do it in 2 different ways. One with like a sample jump style where we've got a hard jump from like one sample select to the next, but there'll actually be different ring mod positions. So it's going to affect the timbre greatly at each jump. And then the other is going to be more of a contiguous, like ongoing, not necessarily linear, but one continuous path of change. So the way we're going to accomplish that is just by loading different kinds of shapes into the LFO here. And I've got a whole bunch that I've made. These are actually part of the Shapeshifters serum pack from my Sound Freaks label, not OhmLab. And so let's do like this pillars one. Okay, so this is a bunch of pretty quick, hard changes for the most part. We can make it even more steep, these changes, so they jump a bit more one to the next, so it doesn't feel quite as organic and natural. Then we can set that, maybe bring our cutoff down to ish and push this up to around ish. And then what we can do is leave triggering off and set this at a really low rate. Maybe 4 bars or so to get started, because these are pretty rapid fire sounds. So we'll get some change in some of them and not so much in others. We'll see how it feels to us. See what I mean? And then when we want more chaos or whatever, we add a little bit more. So we can increase the rate. And then we get a lot of really cool stuff. And it seems somewhat random in some of them, and in others it'll feel a little bit more intentional. One way that we can get a little bit more control over it is to load some kind of specific wave table that we're familiar with, and then just kind of modulate through some changes there over a set period of time. So now we can kind of explore and discover somewhat randomly on a few different planes at once. With one contiguous output, we can then take that 3 minutes of recorded audio or whatever, strip silence, and in half a second we can have like 50 samples. So it speeds up things and you get all this stuff really organically. Alexi, welcome in. Kate Kashi is here. How you doing? I don't mind being on mute, homie. Hope you're doing well over there. Space bunny laser gun. Oh, okay. So Elfdal is asking, hey, so last question. You don't have to make it your last question. You ask questions all day long. That's what we're here for. It's supposed to be educational and entertaining. So, am I going to bounce multiple versions? Okay. So, and by this is different wet versions. Okay. So, good answer or good questions. The answer is a couple layers actually. One is that these sounds will be source sounds, which means some of them will be processed in a multitude of ways to give a whole bunch of different outcomes, and others will just be shipped as is. Um, it really kind of depends on what we currently already have in inventory, right? Sounds that have been added to the greater library through different sound packs, and what's most densely populated in external inventories, right? So, like if there's already market saturation with a certain type of sound in a fairly specific range of timbre, we can make that same type of sound in a very different kind of timbre. So we can serve the same purpose, the same exact intention. It can fit a mold, but it's being presented very differently. So it really depends. It really depends. But I just trying to keep things as holistic as possible. Um, as we grow the library and having been doing this for so many flipping years and having started several marketplaces over the years, I have a really good handle on what kind of sounds are out there and what kind of sounds are currently um, in demand, which ones are super saturated, sounds are evergreen. So that's why you see me hopping around from sound to sound so much. The short answer to having success with sounds and having them maintain kind of their evergreen status, which means they're going to be relevant and useful to people year round for many years, right? They're not seasonal, they're not following some kind of a trend or a meme, etc., is to keep your kind of original integrity of the sound, right? Anyone can toss a reverb on, right? And if a sound designer is going to use a boom or a laser or something, right, they're probably going to want to put it into the space that fits their project. So the odds of me putting a highly specific sound out, in other words, a laser with a very specific type of reverb on it, right? The odds of that sound in that space fitting everyone's projects is just not going to happen. But if I just put that sound up and leave it there so people can put whatever kind of reverb they want on it, now you've got it. Because it can fit in any kind of scene, right? It just has to fit the genre, and that's it, or the era, and that's it. And they can take care of things like local proximity and environment and that type of thing. That said, there is also just kind of like a general quality. Like there's a dry sound and then there's a polished wet sound, right? So um, when these do go into the library, there will be a little bit of sound to them, like a little bit of space to them in some cases, but not all. I also bounce everything within a specific LUFS range, so the sounds stay fairly cooperative, and I also wrangle the frequencies of many different sound types in different ways. So when they are being triggered in the timeline, because people can trigger sounds in real time with their QWERTY keyboard inside of Audio Design Desk. So as they're triggering sounds in real time, these things have to sound cooperative. They can't clash and they can't compete. So there's a fair bit of treatment that goes into each file as it makes its way into the system. The jelly beamer. That's a really good one, Heidi. That's a good one. Saf, I'm jealous that you can speak Japanese. You know, my brother has actually lived in Japan full time for the past 30 some years. I think he's probably only been back to the States like once or twice during that whole time. All right, back to these sounds. We are about to make a whole bunch of weird digital stuff. So let's do that. All right, and we're going to I'm going to put those like half-baked sounds. We're going to start a new track down here, and we'll just call it digital. What's I doing? All right, so we've got our cool kind of random digital hack here. And we're just going to record a bunch of things. I'm going to twist some knobs while we do this. I might play with a little pitch bending. We'll jump across octaves. I'll load up different waveforms. And I'll just kind of be triggering stuff somewhat randomly the entire time. So here we go. We've got some Animog files here. I'm going to swap out my LFO shape really quick. Kind of keep things fresh. Rapid rhythm patch should be interesting. This technique is also really, really good for making UI sounds. Go way up for UI. For like digital, go way down for notifications and stuff. Error messages. Telemetry. Switch up the ring mod a bit, maybe. Ooh, these are great weapon sounds. Going back to bouncing stuff and recording stuff dry versus wet, there's also the ability to just like very rapidly get a whole bunch of sounds out in a very short period of time. Might notice I'm also doing this at a fairly low level, like volume-wise, which is also intentional. All right, I'm going to stop there because we probably have a ton of sounds here. I'll just show you the strip silence feature really quick so you can wrap your mind around what this does for your workflow. Oh, and also, if you're to keep a MIDI clip like this in your arrangement window, you swap out, say, a filter and a wavetable, you can bounce that in place and get, you know, a couple hundred more samples in a second. Just a little life hack. So if I was to open up strip silence here and set a couple parameters, I would have Right now, it's at 133 samples that we recorded in those 3 minutes. So if, we lived in a perfect world and we had 133 useful files out the other end, then flippin' fantastic. Odds are that you're going to walk away with over 100 samples, though, right? So it's a pretty easy workflow to fall in love with. Um, and of course, each one of these things can be twisted up in so many other ways. So typically, what I do is I set the decibel threshold pretty low. So that way, we're capturing kind of any sound in the timeline. And then I also, typically speaking, I up uh, the amount of silence that is acceptable. So that way I'm not truncating sounds too much, and just try to keep it all within reason. And I can see how many um, regions I'm about to slice this into. So I've gone down to 125, which means a couple of these sounds might have been kind of squished together in this, but that's fine. So I'll just click OK, and it chops all of those sounds. And while they're still highlighted, I can just go in here and say I want to add a fade curve of, say, 5 milliseconds on the in, and maybe we'll do 50 on the out, something like that. And now every single one of those 125 files has a fade curve on it, and it's all on the same track. So I can do a batch export. I can do a batch process on these things, so they all have the same kind of tone and character to them as like a finishing agent. And that is how you can get a ton of sounds out very, 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 very fast. What is the long word, Heidi? What is the word for blueberry pie? Interested. Oh, these are interesting words. Yeah, I'm just like I'm a junkie for that kind of stuff. Making you work. I thought maybe it was just something you could just rattle off, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious or something. All right, so digital sounds are easy and fun. That's what we've just learned. If we go in a slightly different direction, we get the sample and hold kind of output from the same type of sound making. Much more brash. So we can turn off our overdrive. It's also just a great way to make glitch beats and stuff. But I digress. Let's go into perhaps some comb, which means we're really going to have to drive the resonance here. Weird stuff. All right. Out of here. Add a little flange or something. Next thing we do. Get into a different shape and change it a bit. This off the mark. Fairly random peaks. And I'm just going to select everything in here, and we're just going to flex the entirety of shapes here. And make them all round here. All right, so I like some weird little timbres up in here. So I'm gonna play with this a little bit and see where it takes us. That is a funky sound. I'm recording this. This is like Adventure Time sound. Wait, why am I getting sounds here? I don't want to play. I just don't. All right, try it again. Power of play. Gotta love getting some cool, weird, funky stuff. All right, so this is just this one's just gonna be kind of abstract. I'm gonna turn off note repeat, and I'm gonna get into just some longer decays. So I'm keeping the sustain down on these, simply so we can kind of have a finite type of sound without having too much shaping put on it. That was kind of good. Up the valley floor on the. We get rid of that click. And let's record some of those. Weirdness. I like weirdness. This is some weirdness down here. Let's go ahead and record a couple of these lower notes. All right, there were a few useful ones in there. Those. I feel like it's kind of important not to get too tight into a waveform that is completely different. How about a metallic one? And let's play with some strange. So let's go into feather FM from that. And let's this as modulate. Some weird stuff right there. I'm gonna move to a different shape here. So maybe the step and slide. This is gonna lead to some really funky results. Ooh. All right, we're about to get a whole bunch of sounds. These might fall a bit more on the side of like anime than just general cartoon, but that's okay. I have a lot of fun with it. Oof. Oh man, these are solid anime action sounds, is what these are. Okay, let's try that again. We're going to go into a different part of each one of these waveforms here. And let's get way fast with our modulation. Oh, these are great attack sounds and magic sounds. All right, those were great. I kind of like, maybe we'll put like anime and magic down. Anime, but won't commit. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Heidi has posted the word. Clears throat. Mina Bashka Mina Siganepit Oyengues Chiganepakwazi Gone. I have no idea. I have no idea how to say this. Ooh, it's the longest word in Ojibwe. So, blueberry or blueberry pie. Blueberry pie, you have to earn it. Would you like a slice of this blueberry pie? You're going to have to pronounce it correctly. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. That's what I got to say about that. Let's do another animogue. Let's see here. A clip and ooh, a rhythmic FM bit in here. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Let's move away from reverb because it's incredibly abstract, and let's move to like a ooh. Two throat. I want the ability to draw my own filters. Please, Steve. That's what I would like. All right, I'm just playing. Let's get into some orchestral stuff again. Stereo here, and back in factory light. And let's take a look. Let's take a look at our list and see. Slide whistles, vibra slap. I don't really like the slap back on that. You kind of like that one though. Yeah, too bad I don't have control over that reverb. A great sound. Hmm. What else is on the list? I'm not really inspired by this right now. Xylophone. Gliss up, gliss down. Lamb, Diadplux. Attic rise, plate skeleton ribs. Okay. Timpani, low hit, smack ground, hit slide up, big bounce, defeat Womp, slide down. We got to set up a pitch bend here. So we'll say pitch bend is going to hit That's nice. All right, we'll record some of these. Music with Mendez is here. Welcome in, homie. Happy hump day. Turn on distortion. Are you guys getting weird distorted sound right now? Everything looks fine on this end. Welcome in, Rochambeau, by the way. Really like this one. We're going to get it distorted, huh? Oh, well, here. I don't know why that is the case, but I will gladly kick the sound card. See what happens. One person's distortion is another's blueberry pie and bourgeois. Where is it spoken? Is this better? Is there no distortion now, you guys? All right, so we're going to leave our pitch range there, and we're going to play with pitch bends in general with this kind of tune percussion hit. Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm glad the distortion's gone. How long was it happening? Was it just kind of sudden? Feel like I got to get off this build of the OS. All right, let's record this awesome magic sound because this is amazing right now. Perfect. I didn't record any audio? Why? All right, well, I'll just go back here and record. Oh, no, it doesn't record my pitch bends. Okay, we're going to try that again then. Record. That one recorded. All right, so this is just going to be like some perks or something. Learning how to spell. All right. What time we have here? We got 12:27. I got to keep track of time because I got a call that starts at 1 p.m. List cowbell rattle wood blocks. Got some wood blocks. Let's do some bonky bonks here. Overshot. Some wind ups and wind downs. That down here on this track. How many samples do you think we've created today? How many do you think are usable? I'm looking at this and I'm thinking there's at least a few hundred samples here, at least. And maybe a couple hundred useful, maybe? I don't know. Let's get back into our note repeater. And we're going to go for like maybe 7 repeats. And we're going to transpose 1 step up. All right, so we're going to have to take this down to like 5. Is the way that this is mapped. Ah, sucks. Let's do 3 maybe. Okay, so we'll do these 2. Because those are easy. And we're going to do a run down. Let's try that again. Oh, that was funny. All right, let's get faster here. A little bit more bend on that velocity ramp there. Okay, we're getting the boing twangs really quick. All right, so we'll do this and then we'll do one that's extended. And we'll play around with pitch a little bit. Bear with me a minute. All right, so now we're going to go for a bunch more repeats. A little faster this time. Some multi-timbral stuff in there. Oh, and let's do maybe a slower one here. So we're going to bring that repeats down to like maybe 9 or so. Bring that velocity range down. Maybe like a 7. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, and we're going to go the opposite direction now. We're going to start low, go high. And that's a little bit better. It's like woodpecker type stuff. All right, so we'll get a couple of these for woodpecker. Okay, and I'm gonna play with pitch just a little bit, or I mean, yeah, pitch through arpeggiation. To take the repeats down here, we're gonna make a door knocks. There's just too much reverberation hidden down in those. There we go. Let's do a couple more knocks here. Couple more. We're gonna go up in our rate, and we're gonna get some typing. Our velocity ramp normal here. Cool. Now we're going to vary that just a little bit. Modulator on here. Set modulator to pitch. On modulator, where are you? Mod wheel, learn plugin parameter, pitch. And now we're just going to slow that down. And the output level. Offset that in full range here. And we're going to move into random. All right, we'll call this the typing rate, and we're going to hit record here. All right, that's enough of those. Let's put all of those down to their spot. All tune percussion. We've made a bunch of stuff, you guys. We made a bunch of stuff. Ooh, the spell sound effect from Earthbound. Bunch of stuff. It is a DAW full of stuff right there. Ping pong ball machine gun. Kashi says, okay, sound's on now. I'd have kept it on for my meetings, but these corporate plebs don't understand the art. Oh, it's Chippewa. Okay. Central Angolian or Angonian language. Wow, okay. Something new every day. Da, 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 da. Hmm. Let's do a little synthesis for a minute. You know, why not? Why not? Let's go. Let's take these guys off. I don't know what I'm gonna make, but we're gonna make something. Not sure what it is yet. Maybe we'll start with like a triangle, maybe. And we'll filter it a little bit. It's kind of soft. And what are we gonna do with it? What are we gonna do? Let's do da, da, da. All right, so we're gonna do a little drive-by, just because we can. And we're gonna take it up to here. We're gonna call this an envelope, and we've got this is gonna go for 2 bars, 4 bars, and we're gonna pan. We're gonna take this same exact controller here, and we can do that. So, and let's. This guy right here, we could probably use a little bit. Great, huh? Maybe we'll do a slow one and a. It doesn't really feel like it's touching the entire hand spectrum, does it? Let's see. Matrix. Yeah, let's do global. Oh, I guess we just can do it directly on. This later. Go back out here and take a look at that. Not syncing up. Oh. Huh, weird. It's operating at a totally different. supposed to be an envelope. It's supposed to stop there. Why is it not? Okay, so this one, so we're going to use two different controls. Cut off. Or envelope. There we go. Soften up our attack there. Cool. Okay, and we'll put in a little FM here, just simply for the purposes spicing things up. Knock out a bunch of variations really quickly. Why is it going back left? That makes no sense. Ah, that's why. Okay, there we go. That feels a little bit better. And then we'll do two different rates. Here. So wiggly. All right, so we can make some little flybys. Might add just a tiny little bit of noise to those. Go with like maybe. So we should probably put our noise. Well, yeah, so the noise gives it a nice little flutter effect. Makes it sound much more wholly real. Because we know what these things sound like when they're real. Happy Worm is gone. Oh my goodness. All right, so I think I'm going to actually do the recording of Happy Worm outside of the stream. We need to find someone to raid really quick. Ooh, some vector synthesis here for these sounds. Yeah. Also, just for giggles, because and oh, I like the visual display of this one. I wish I could see it in the rack view. One more thing requested for Serum 2. Sagasby. So goes B. Welcome in. Happy hump day to you. Making some random cartoon sounds. We're just wrapping up the stream, actually. All right, so this is the part of the stream where I say, hey, who should we go raid? And say nice things like I appreciate you guys and all that kind of stuff. But don't forget also that if you are subbed, you've got a whole bunch of free cult classic movie dialogue samples waiting for you on the Discord. Just sync your Discord and your Twitch emails, and you'll automatically be allowed into the subscriber rewards channel. I will soon be adding a whole bunch more up there. Raid the town, leave them nothing, says Keikashi. Light the torches. Let's roll. What was I saying? Oh yeah. If you're subbed, you get a whole bunch of free sounds. So grab them from the Discord over here. Just sync your accounts, and you'll be allowed in there. The other thing is that in 2 days' time, we'll meet back here at 10-ish, 10:30 a.m.-ish Pacific for Feedback Friday. Drop your tracks early. I have a feeling it's going to be a busy one. And we've had to close the gates fairly early in the stream recently because it's become so popular. So make sure you get your tracks dropped early on Friday morning. It's the best advice I have for you. Someone get me a good pitchfork. Grab the fireproof pitchfork. Is that even a thing? Is that a thing? Can we get a fireproof pitchfork? Something tells me if you go to a store and you ask for a fireproof pitchfork, you end up on a watch list. They're like, we got a witch burner here. Okay, so we can go see the Funky Spud. So we're talking some funky horn action. E-Town Junglist, bunch of guys sitting around talking and listening. Oyasumi Uni art. Anderson Kev is on. He's doing a little game development. We do love us some Kevin. And there's also Shoes music if we just want to listen. What in the world are we going to go do, you guys? Why do there have to be so many decisions in life? Pitchfork. Pitchfork's usually made of steel. Well, I'll opt for the handle that's not steel on that one. Let's go raid Kevin. Is that who you guys are thinking too? Oh, fried crumpets, says Andremia. You know what? We've gone to fried crumpets much more recently than Kevin. I usually catch Kevin early, so I'm surprised he's on right now. So we're going to go say hi, and maybe he'll be on for just a little bit longer. He's fantastic. If you're unfamiliar, he's great. Apparently the raid started already? I'm not sure. Something weird happened with Twitch. I will catch you guys on the other side.